Hello and welcome. Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible, mind-blowing feats of the human brain, how a baby goes from complete silence to speaking full sentences in just a handful of years. It happens so fast and to every baby everywhere that it's almost like a linguistic big bang going off in every single nursery. So let's just start with the central mystery. How on earth does an infant who can't even tie their own shoes manage to master grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation without a single formal lesson? I mean, they're surrounded by this constant sea of sounds, and yet somehow they figure it all out. That's the puzzle we're going to piece together right now. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the evidence. The universal stages every single baby goes through. Then, we'll see how they start cracking the code of grammar. After that, we'll jump into the great debate between two major theories. And finally, we'll land on the modern verdict, where nature and nurture finally come together. Okay, so our investigation starts with the very first clues. We're collecting the evidence, step by step, from a baby's first year of life. These are the absolute foundational steps on the path to language. For the first couple of months, it's pretty much all crying. Now, this isn't really communication yet, but think of it as a critical vocal workout. It's teaching the baby how to control their breath and make sounds. Then, between 2 and 4 months, we get cooing. Those soft, happy ooh and ah sounds. That's the baby basically discovering their vocal cords and getting comfortable with this new sound-making toolkit. But the real game changer happens around 6 months, with babbling. All of a sudden, you're hearing these consonant vowel pairs like ba-ba and da-da. Yep, the very first building blocks of real speech. And what's truly mind-blowing is that babbling isn't just random noise. The sounds a baby makes actually start to mimic the rhythm and patterns of the language they hear around them. A baby hearing French will babble differently than a baby hearing Chinese. And get this, deaf babies who are exposed to sign language, they'll actually babble with their hands, making these repetitive, rhythmic gestures that are the clear precursor to signing. It's incredible. This proves something really profound. Language isn't just about speaking and hearing. It's a much deeper cognitive ability, something wired into the brain that can express itself through different channels, whether that's sound coming from your mouth or signs coming from your hands. So how does this all build up? Well, after mastering the basic sounds, the baby's next big mission is to crack the grammar code, moving from just babbling to forming actual, meaningful words and sentences. It all starts with the one-word stage. A baby might say milk, but that single word is doing a ton of heavy lifting. Linguists call this a holophrase. See, it doesn't just mean the drink. It could mean I want milk, or hey, I see the milk, or even oops, I just spilled milk all over the cat. It's a whole sentence packed into one tiny word. Pretty soon, they graduate to the two-word stage. You start hearing phrases like want, toy. Now, notice what's missing. All those little connecting words like I, or the. But, and this is crucial, the grammatical order is almost always right. They're already figuring out the basic rules of how sentences are supposed to work. And from there, we move into what's called telegraphic speech. It's just like an old-fashioned telegram where you paid by the word, so you only use the most essential ones. Kids do the same thing. Baby eat food gets the message across perfectly without any of that grammatical fluff. They're all about efficient communication. But here, this is where the real detective work comes in, and it's all about the mistakes. A child might say, I good, instead of I went. Now, why is this so fascinating? Because it proves they're not just imitating adults. Think about it. No adult says good. What's actually happening is the child has figured out a rule, add ed to make something past tense, and they're just applying it everywhere. These so-called mistakes are actually signs of a tiny linguistic genius at work, actively building a whole grammar system in their head. Okay, so we've gathered all our evidence, the universal stages, the rulemaking, those brilliant little errors. Now let's look at the two main suspects, the competing theories that try to explain how this all happens. In one corner, you've got B.F. Skinner and the behaviorists. Their argument was pretty simple. Language is learned just like any other behavior, through imitation and reinforcement. Basically, you say it right, you get a cookie. In the other corner, you have Noam Chomsky, the nativist. He argued the exact opposite, that language is innate. We're born with this language acquisition device in our brains, already pre-programmed with a universal grammar. The problem was, Skinner's theory just couldn't explain creativity, like good, and Chomsky's theory didn't really give enough credit to the importance of social interaction. So who was right, Skinner or Chomsky, the behaviorist or the nativist? Well, as it turns out, the real answer isn't so black and white. The verdict is that they were both holding a crucial piece of the puzzle. The modern consensus is something called the interactionist theory, and this view suggests that language acquisition is this beautiful dance between our biology and our environment. A child's brain comes ready for language, but that potential is only unlocked through real, meaningful social interaction. This is the nurture side of the recipe. Of course, a baby needs to be exposed to language, but not just passively. You can't just leave a TV on and expect it to work. They need responsive caregivers who actually interact with them. That social and emotional connection is like the fertilizer that makes language grow. And that brings us to the nature side of the equation. Our biology is absolutely primed for language, but there's a catch. There's a window of opportunity. Neuroscience shows us there's a critical period for learning language that usually ends right around puberty. The brain's flexibility during early childhood makes it uniquely and powerfully receptive. So the final verdict is this. Language isn't simply learned, and it isn't just innate. It emerges. It emerges from this powerful combination of a brain that is literally built for language and an environment full of social interaction that flips the on switch. So the next time you hear a baby babbling or a toddler saying something like, "I good," just remember what you're actually seeing. You're not just witnessing a cute little mistake, you are witnessing one of the most complex and powerful learning processes in the entire known universe, unfolding right there in front of you.